and welcome to Scottish Car Enthusiasts and Trains TV. And we're now into part 5 of our look at Practical Classics March to April 2022 edition. So we're kicking off with Staff Car Sagas. We're kicking off with Danny's SLK 230k. Safety first. So Danny here is basically telling you why it's advisable to get some new tyres on your Merc. As you can see, some cracks in the sidewalls. So Danny says this is the most worrying damage. It's invisible when inflated. The cracks only emerged when the tyre wall flexed. And we at Scottish Car Enthusiasts and Trains TV totally agree that tyres are one of the most important things you can get on your car that you shouldn't skimp money on. So if you've got a dangerous tyre, or you've maybe bought a car just recently and the tyres look a bit dubious, then it might be worthwhile paying money just to change them over. You can find tyre dates on the tyre. Sometimes it's maybe like a little number, just for example, say 3612. So that week, that basically means, if you decode that, it means that the tyre was produced on the 36th week of 2012. So that's just an example, and that tyre would be 10 years old. So it's probably advisable to change that over. So Danny's second shock in his Mercedes was that the fuel pump was leaking petrol above where the power comes in. And he's also changed, he's also cleaned up the lights on his Mazda 6. So moving over, classics live forever. This is an advert for Lucas, and there's some nice Land Rovers and an original Range Rover. Next we have James Walsh and his Citroen Berlingo. And James and Clive discover the pitfalls of modern classics. So, as you can see, the inner sill is a bit knackered. And moving over, brittle airbag wires as well in the Berlingo under the floor. And they've also picking at the leftovers of a butchered Puma carcass. And here is an advert for the NEC Restoration Show, Spring's Best Classic Car Show. And here is a Rimmer Brothers special, our 40-year journey, because it's 40 years of Rimmer Brothers. So, founded in 1982 to 2022. Let's have a look at the Rimmer Brothers journey. So in the 1970s, Bill and Graham Rimmer were both apprenticed at T.I. Churchill Machine Tools. In 1979, Bill and Graham bought themselves a succession of Triumph sports cars used as daily drivers, learning about the renovation of engines, transmissions and bodywork, all in the family garage. 1981, the family moved to Digby House, Brant Broughton, Lincolnshire. The brothers took voluntary redundancy, allowing themselves to set up on their own in the family outbuildings. 1982, the Rimmer Brothers business was born on the 1st of March 1982 with a working capital of just £3,000. And the first company car for them was a Vauxhall Magnum 1800 Estate. To support themselves and Rimmer Brothers, they became retained members of the Lincolnshire Fire Brigade, which continued for 3 years. In 1983, buying, restoring and selling cars which proved not to be very successful. And Bill and Graham approached over 100 Triumph dealerships who were converting to Austin Rover to purchase the remaining Triumph parts. 1984, the first Rimmer Brothers parts advert. Word spread and soon the phone was ringing off the hook. So many parts as the world of Rimmer Brothers spread, specialist parts suppliers began making contact and agreed to start reproducing some high-demand components. The first Rimmer Brothers parts price list was for a Triumph Stag and covered just 2 typewritten sheets. In 1985, Rimmer Brothers' first National Classic Car Show at the NEC, not missed one since. Growing pains. Due to expansion, storage space was running out, so Bill and Graham decided a move was essential. 1986. The first big move. The business moved to its new premises in Branston, which had 14,000 square feet of warehouse and office space, which included a parts counter. The expansion led to the arrival of ex-British Leyland dealer parts manager John Randall. In 1987, Rimmer Brothers achieved British Motor Heritage approval in 1987. 1988 was the launch of our first catalogue was for the TR7. In 1989, it was time for computerization. In 1991, the next big move. After 5 years at Branston and outgrowing its 14,000 square feet, along came the purchase of an ex-car auction site in Bracebridge Heath with 40,000 square feet. In 1993, they branched out into the Rover SD1, 35 feet by 40 feet trucks worth of stock. And in 1996, Rimmer Brothers goes digital, the launch of the website. That would have been quite new because I think the internet came about, sort of became popular in 1994. In 1996, building a TR8 at a classic motor show stand supporting Tony Pond. In 1998, supporting Tony Pond by supplying parts for an X-Works TR7 V8. In 1999, due to continued growth, the office was extended, and a new parts mail order computer system. In 2000, the first Range Rover Classic catalogue. In 2004, new purpose-built packing and dispatch building. 2005, after the MG Rover Group collapse, Rimmer Brothers purchased the remaining part stock from local MG Rover dealerships. And also in that year, Rimmer Brothers became an authorised Land Rover parts distributor. So in 2006, Rover SD1 India, after discovering thousands of SD1 parts, Rimmer Brothers secured a deal and began re-importing 20 by 40 foot containers loaded with SD1 parts. In 2012, they built their £1.2 million additional warehouse, doubling their storage facilities to over 105,000 square feet. In 2014, their first YouTube video tutorial on Rimmer Brothers started with 24 subscribers. And in 2020, we all know what happened in 2020, lockdown, and 29 staff worked from home. 2021, Rimmer Brothers were back to business. And also, they got back to doing some shows. In 2022, the growing YouTube channel with over 100 do-it-yourself tutorials and over 2.9 million views. From everything from a Land Rover Defender to an MG, and a Rover 75, as well as a Triumph. So here we are in 1982, here we are in 2022. And there you go. Thank you from Rimmer Brothers for the 40th anniversary, for the continued support and trust in us over the years, and for being an invaluable part of our journey. So if you're looking for any quality parts for Triumph, MG, Rover, Land Rover, Mini, Jaguar, then www.rimmerbrothers.com. Then it's on to staff car sagas. A brush with catastrophe. Matt averts disaster on a weekend away. So we had a leak in oil pressure gauge, pipe diagnosed, block oil gallery plugged, fresh oil clogged, and disaster avoided. On the TR6. Then we've got Matt Tompkins. Two Austin projects are both seeing good progress, so currently working on that wee mini there. And then working on the 7 down here. If you're available on the 28th, 29th of May and you're near Enfield, then why don't you go to the Enfield Pageant of Motoring? If you're looking to join the Saab Owners Club, here's some information for you here. And we've just missed this. This is a 2CV GB 40th National Rally Easter weekend. So more staff car sagas, and it's Nigel treats his TR6 to some new clutch hydraulics. He's also carried out an oil and filter swap on his BMW 325. Ian Tisdale, Pandora's Box. So Ian's got a 1938 Tatra T97. So he's got everything out: box, swing axles, brakes and springs. Squeaky clean electron magnesium alloy. And then we're time for GRP. The team get itchy preparing the Rebel's body for paint. So this is a Reliant Rebel that you would have probably seen if you were attending the Classic Restoration Show at the Birmingham NEC. So you know what the car will look like now. And here, ask our experts, tech solutions and real-world tips. How hard is a basic service? So the answer to that question is you need to obtain a manual or service guide, tell you what's required, how often and how easy or difficult the tasks are. For most cars, a simple kit of spanners, screwdrivers, pliers and a key for oil drain plug should be sufficient. Coolant for a miner. They want to change the antifreeze in their Morris miner, but they're baffled by the alternatives offered. The experts say buy blue ethylene glycol coolant. I think that's how you say it. Use a wee electric power steering kit for a Triumph Dolomite. For freezing focus. Fitting hazard warning lights to a MG midget. And here's a guide on how to replace rear coil springs. So, first step is gather all the parts. 2. You want to check for any cables or hoses that may need releasing before the suspension drops. Step 3. Release the shock absorber. Step 4. Remove the old spring. Spring pads. Step 5. Step 6 is fitting the new springs. And remember, numpty alert. Take great care. Coil springs may be under pressure, causing serious injury if released suddenly. Step 7 is reassemble and torque. And step 8 is finish and enjoy. And you should be able to do this in 2 hours depending on how capable you are. And here's the job card. It's not a tough job, it's 3 out of 5. You'll need jack and axle stands, basic tools, torque wrench, replacement suspension parts. It'll cost you roughly about £90 and you'll probably save £100. And we're going to come back to this in part 6 of what can I do about my tired driver's seat. So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe at Scottish Car Enthusiasts and Trains TV, and we'll catch you in a future video. Farewell.